We've been at this for 5 years, and 5 years in the world of philanthropy sometimes is viewed as a very long time to be at a single issue. But we think right now is an opportune time to make a real, hard, strong, thoughtful push for some of the ultimate outcomes that we had when we began this journey some 5 years ago. There's been a lot of good things that have happened. We've been disappointed in any number of areas, but we also think that our shift in the approach, given all that we've learned over that 5-year period, really positions the work well, positions communities well, do some extraordinary things as relates to the transformation of juvenile justice in America. I think some of the things that have happened in learning communities, the ones that we've set the table for, but as well as others, is the level of information folks have. Now, some folks would say knowledge. I think the communities have always been quite knowledgeable myself. But there is science around some of this work that I hear come out of the mouths of advocates, young, old, anywhere in between, about what we're confronting. People will talk about brain science in their own way. Heard a young man get up today and talk about, how his cortex was not fully developed and he was challenged by impulse control. This is a young person talking about his own development. We talk a lot about trauma-informed care and the experiences that people have actually had outside of those systems, but also exacerbated by them coming into those systems as well. This is no longer just protestation from the community where we're saying we're dissatisfied with the status quo. What you hear people doing is really bringing good, solid ideas to the table, demanding that change happen, but have it happen in a way that holds real possibility for juvenile justice to be what it was created to be, and that it was a helping and developmental system for children who have gotten a little bit off track, something we shouldn't be surprised about, given that they are, in fact, children. It kind of goes back to what I said earlier about some of the disappointments. I'm disappointed about the pace of change. Given all that knowledge and information that we actually have, given its broad distribution, you would think that systems would have changed more, both in terms of their practice, but also the policy context in which they operate, than they actually have. I'm disappointed that they're not more prepared to talk about race. I'm disappointed they're not more prepared to act on the level of disparity that we've actually talked about. I'm disappointed they haven't invested more in jobs programs, more in behavioral and mental health care. In California, we have voted on propositions that demand that actually happen. And I have seen systems, and I'll say this as a systems person, having run a large system for many, many years, I am disappointed in my colleagues' willingness to do what is right, and to do it in a way that I think is representative of how any just society cares for its children. Three things we did. We started, we had a systems focus, we pushed people, we trained a lot of folks on trauma-informed care, we talked about behavioral and mental health, we talked about youth development as a framework for juvenile justice. We've informed systems leaders, policymakers about that. That's kind of phase one. Phase two, we pushed people a little more deeply. We said, let's expand the population, let's talk more about civic engagement and leadership development in ways that I think gave real hope for youth fully manifesting their capability of being, as the type of people they would want it to be in many, many respects. This third phase, it's demand-side work. It's about supporting many of the communities who've been standing on the side, asking us questions about when is it our turn, and having them be resourced to take, I think, the next level of their own evolution, which is to be even more present at the table, because they've actually been there, and we want to acknowledge that, to be more powerful in their articulation of what's possible going forward, and to be more demanding that change actually happen. That's where we are. I think that's the next iteration of the work. I think it comes from a lot of lessons. I won't disparage anything that we have done or have not done well in the past. I, like many of the folks that I have the extraordinary pleasure now to work with more closely, hopeful about the future and impatient about getting there. We have real concerns about the language we hear at the federal level, a return to law and order. And we think that sometimes they are code words for going back to days that people might think were better, but all the data and information and knowledge we've acquired over the 20 or so past years knows that that's a failed approach to criminal or juvenile justice policy. We think that we're really privileged to be here in California with the more recent passage of Proposition 57, but 47, 36, realignment. We don't see California going back. What we really believe is that California is a state that can actually lead the way in showing other jurisdictions around this country how it should be done. And to do so, not just from a moral standpoint, because in some ways having to make that argument is probably the most disappointing aspect of this work. We should already be there. But the technical aspect of this, exactly how to do it, and show them the power of having youth and community voice at the table. Not a nice thing to do, essential for success. That's where we think we are. That's what we think we have the opportunity to achieve. And I can tell you, if you've been in the room that I just came out of with all the advocates, they believe that as much as anybody.